Hey guys, welcome back to Chris and Retro. Tonight I'm going to talk about influence and inspiration, leadership, the grit, the grind, what it means to be in it, what it means to be showing up. I've got a very vivid example here from Western New York that I'm going to share with you guys. But this week it's even something with my sales team at work that we talked about on Friday in our meeting, and what showing up looks like and how the greater impact that has. And I think with some of the things I'll share with you tonight, we're getting a very vivid illustration of what it means, what leadership looks like, influence, and what showing up can be. So with that, we'll get right into the video. Greatness can be found in just about everything. We can find people that we can cite that were great at everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's business, sales, leadership, sports, fighting, anything like this. We can find greatest vehicles, greatest computer. We got the Mac debate all the time. What is the greatest of all things? And there are elements that make great in terms of the individual performance. So if I'm an athlete and I happen to have certain statistics that are greater than others, I'm viewed as great at that sport. If I'm a CEO of a corporation that's just wildly successful above other corporations, I'm great at what I do. If I'm the number one sales rep and I sell everybody, I'm great at what I do. If I'm a remarkable recovery from addiction, I'm great at that, and I'm viewed in many positive ways. And it speaks to individual skills, and in no way am I minimizing individual skill sets of people, because I think that without that individual skill, it's very difficult to be able to have the impact that I'm going to share with you tonight. Now, I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan, and I was always a football fan my whole life, and I still love watching football as so long as it's a team that can be exciting to be behind. I grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I really got disinterested in that team based on how they're managed and the fact they've got some great players that have played for decades. But I just, as a kid, I grew up. Dallas Cowboys was kind of like something I was exposed to. I think mainly because my brother was a Steelers fan. We kind of, brothers do that sort of thing. They get against each other, and the Cowboys when I was younger, Tom Landry, and those types of people had more of a noble leadership. And as they changed ownership and started to become more of a corporation, it just wasn't fun to watch anymore. It just like you're watching somebody go to work every day and do their business, and no matter how good or bad they are, they just have never been anything I really got behind. But in Western New York, we really there's a lot of rallying around the Buffalo Bills. Western New York, people think of New York State and they think of certain things. Western New York is not what you would most people imagine what New York is. Everybody thinks of the Manhattan skyline. They think of the five boroughs. They think of all kinds of New York things, but rarely do they. There is their first picture Western New York where I live. In Western New York, where I live, we have the Finger Lakes, we have wine country, we have skiing, a lot of trees, a lot of green. But we also have a terrible economy and not an awful lot that people look to for excitement. In fact, if you take the state thruway across Western New York, the I-90, you'll go right from Albany all the way over to Buffalo, and you'll hit Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, and I live in Rochester. Well, dominantly from in Buffalo and Rochester, it's Bills Mafia. People here just absolutely get around the Buffalo Bills and love them. I personally support them in that it's the region I'm in, and you want to see them do well. But everything changed for me in terms of my support for this team with the introduction 7 years ago of Josh Allen. Um, Josh Allen, if you haven't heard, has been awarded the NFL MVP, Most Valuable Player for 2023-24 season. I'm sorry, the 24 season. Um, it is an illustration of every single thing I'm going to demonstrate for you tonight. Does Josh have the skill? Absolutely. But Josh didn't always seem to have the skill. He wasn't drafted in a way that he was drafted higher than what people thought he should be. He wasn't really picked as somebody that should be great. He had to earn his spot in collegiate athletics. He had to work to get to where he was at. And that type of thinking and behavior, that lack of entitlement, has made him one of the greats of all time. And how does that happen? How does somebody that has less skill set in a professional league that pays people millions of dollars to be the best in the world at their position, how does somebody stand out who's substandard in terms of his quality of performance relative to some of the others that are out there? I can't stand Patrick Mahomes. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl. for obvious reasons based on the region, but also just as a his arrogance and how he plays the game. I don't really like watching him, and I don't really care for him as a person. Maybe it's a bias in terms of how I grew up around people like that, but I just don't like that person. But he is tremendously athletic, and he's tremendously good at what he does. And so for that, you can't really knock him for his athletic ability. But what makes somebody like a Josh Allen, or somebody who name the name, that behaves like Josh, that comes into the league or comes into any other environment, that really don't have the skill set or the background or the pedigree or anything to be great, and that they become great? And usually in those situations, there's one other key element: they have a tremendous support from those around them. I look at Josh as a great illustration of a couple different things. And one of those, and this is definitely transferable over into our recovery community. By all accounts, and I certainly don't know him personally, he shows up every single day. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we just talked about this with my team this week on Friday. One of the elements we talked about was showing up. You got to show up every single day. Now, we've got a big number to hit this year and a really tough market to do it in. But I feel confident in what my team can do because of the people I have on the team and how their hearts are. I just know they find a way, and they've got the skill to do it. When you show up, it's not a matter of just, I made it on time. If you're not ready to go, you didn't show up. There's a lot of people who have different morning routines. For me, I have a morning routine. I know some people do yoga, all kinds of things. But when I played baseball in college, in high school, one of the things they told you is don't stretch to warm up to stretch. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the game. So you're light warm up. You get your body so you can stretch and get it flexible and ready to perform. Then you get your mind ready, and then you get on the field to play and you play. In fighting, it's the same way. You got to get a sweat going before you even get in the fight, which doesn't make any sense when you want to keep your stamina, but you've got to be ready to go when you walk in the cage. It's the same thing in many aspects of life. That showing up is fight ready. It's not just being there on time. And the excellent ones are showing up every single day, even on days when they don't feel like it. So when showing up is one thing, and Josh has got a reputation for showing up all the time. And early in his career, you could expect rookie inconsistencies here and there, but his heart was always in it. And so that manifests itself and is very evident in the way that you see people around him rally. He got his MVP last night, and it was tremendously powerful to watch his teammates there and how his acceptance speech and all the things that went along with it. And before I get further into it, I'm going to share some of the video that's some of our regional promotion. I don't know if this is national or not, but relative to Josh and the recent accomplishment that he's had.
MVP is the greatest honor for a professional athlete. It's hard to ever dream something like this would be possible. Most athletes know they'll never have a shot. But you were different. You always believed in yourself. Even when no colleges made offers, you never lost faith.
The Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming.
It's that drive that took you to the next level.
Josh Allen.
It's not even about believing in yourself. It's about being willing to put your own work into your success. You can believe in yourself all you want, but if you're not actually putting the work in to make that belief come true, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's certainly something he's demonstrated over and over again just by the style of play.
Josh Allen is one of the best players in this league.
His teammates love him, though. He is a football player through and
He
through.
can beat you from the pocket. He can beat you with his mind. He can beat you with his arm.
And then he's got the ability to take off and run.
You became larger than life on the football field. From high-flying acrobatic hurdles
He's an alley.
to the physics-defying tight window throws,
That guy walking highlight reel.
always find ways to outdo yourself. And you put Buffalo.
Physics-defying tight window throws. One of the knocks against Josh Allen coming into the NFL was his accuracy.
back on the map. Every week, a new stat comes out. You're the first Buffalo Bills quarterback to win MVP. With your toughness, your talent, and your class, you redefine what it means to be a Buffalo Bill.
What he has done on this team, this organization, and in this community, I've got a hard time believing that someone's done more.
You always leave us feeling the same way. Proud to be part of Bill's Mafia and proud to be on your team. Not just because you're the MVP, but because you're our MVP.
He is in. Touchdown, Buffalo. The play of the year. Josh Allen can do magical things.
So congratulations, Josh Allen, on MVP. But if you notice, there's so many things in there. You know, his willingness to put himself on the line. Now, this is not a football video by any means, but what it is to say is, look, there are things that he's done to sacrifice his own body for his team. Broke his wrist in the very first game of the year, diving into the end zone. That you show the one-arm dive in the end zone. That was one that was a broken play. He threw the ball to Amari Cooper, who got stopped by 3 guys on the 1-yard line in a wicked snowstorm. Amari didn't know what to do. Josh ran towards him. He gave the ball to Josh, and Josh laid out for a touchdown. Now, it's just not to say that Josh is the greatest football player of all time, but for this, what we try to do in this show, I think that he's a tremendous example of what it is that we are trying to accomplish in our recovery community and what we're trying to do to recover from anything. It's not just that you do great for you, but the influence that you have by those around you, by showing up, by your leadership, by your grit and your grind to go above and not complain about what other people are doing and raise your teammates up publicly, public praise and private discipline. These are all things that when you want to influence others, they want to be with you. They want you. Your success draws success. It draws attraction, and people want what you have, and they'll go to any length to get it because they see you going any length on their behalf. Now, team sports, it's easy to get yourself in a situation where you can demonstrate that selfless, team-oriented way and get people to rally around you. But when it comes at your own betterment, which you see Josh do all the time, at times when you'll sacrifice for your team over and over again and constantly be stand-up guy in public with your team, it's you influence others and they become great too. You know, this video is really primarily driving because we think of leadership in certain ways. We think of greatness and most valuable anything in certain ways. I would argue this MVP and you being an MVP in your own life, you can accomplish the same thing by taking the key elements of what Josh does. Can you do this when you're in jail? Can you do it in prison? Can you do it in rehab? Can you do it pending legal issues? In sales, in business, in your job, home, among friends, as you walk down the street, on a YouTube channel, in a book, wherever? Can you do this? Absolutely yes. Because what Josh's most valuable trait is his willingness to go in all the time, show up all the time, and put every bit of his soul into this, taking personal accountability and ownership over what it is that he does. And you can do the same thing for your own life. There are no awards out there for MVP, and you won't get it on a stage and be put in a Hall of Fame. But all the benefits that people around Josh get, you can offer others just by being you. Just by making sure that every single day you show up. Whatever your process is that gets you ready immediately when you're ready to engage on your day with your plan and your specific things in mind about what you're going to accomplish just today, you can have every bit the influence he does. You don't have to be somebody that has an award waiting for you. Get out and grind. Go out and do the things you promised to do. Have the right mindset. Take the right actions that are accountable and they have due dates. And make sure by all means, when you make a promise, keep it. If you follow those things and you show up every day trying to be better than you were yesterday, you absolutely will be better than you were yesterday. And on top of that, others will be better too, because you're not only an example, you're an inspiring draw that people want to follow. You're not just a mentor, you're a model. You're a model of what it looks like, and you're a very vivid example that others can have it too. I hope to do that on this show, and that's why I do what I do. You know, Sam encourages me all the time. Sometimes I get frustrated and think that people are not hearing what I have to say, and that maybe it's not as valuable. And she asked me what my objective was. My objective is one. So if you're the one out there and you're feeling downtrodden and you see other people having these accomplishments in their life, you absolutely have the same capability that somebody as great as Josh Allen does, in that you can be every single thing you're capable of being today. That's 100% of you. And that's all people can ask. And tomorrow morning, show back up and be better than you were today. Congratulations, Josh Allen. The entire region is proud of you. And not just because you're an athlete. There's a bunch of kids in a cancer hospital that you give them hope and you're a hero. At the same time, there's a bunch of people around us at later ages, like your 52-year-old host right now, that learn an awful lot about how you behave yourself professionally. And I aspire to do the same things you're doing. So congratulations. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and share. This is one that struck me given the context of many other things that I'm working on in my life right now. And I think these elements and the attitudes and the way that it came out for Josh is somebody I find very inspiring for how I view my own role in life and what I have to do to make sure that I am giving other people the best me so they can be the best them. Tomorrow, I've got a great guest on, Roxanne Miller. I call her Roxy. She's got a pretty tremendous history in addiction, but also some personal turmoil that she has probably one of the most go forward attitudes I've ever met in my life. And she has a remarkable story that would otherwise make her not do that. She's an MVP in her own life, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm looking forward to having her on the show, and I hope you enjoy her too. Between now and the next time we talk, I'm going to do everything I can to stay out of trouble, and I hope you guys do too.